After 25 years fighting fires running into burning buildings while everyone else was running out, I thought I'd seen the ugliest sides of people. I'd pulled kids from smoke-filled rooms, watched homes turn to ash, carried the weight of lives I couldn't save. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for Linda Pearson, the HOA president who turned my quiet retirement into a war over a damn tree, ended with her screaming in the rain as her mansion burned, and me just standing there, watching it all go up in flames. My name's Tom Grayson, retired firefighter, bad knees, worse shoulder, and a bone-deep need for peace when I bought a little place on Maplewood Lane in Cloverfield Heights. It was a simple brick house, nothing fancy, tucked at the end of a cul-de-sac with a front porch perfect for morning coffee and a giant sycamore tree that threw shade over half my yard. The tree was like an old friend, steady, rooted, the kind of thing that makes you feel like you belong somewhere. The neighborhood was picture perfect, tidy lawns, kids on bikes, neighbors who nod but mind their own business. At least that's what I thought. Then I met Linda. She wasn't just the HOA president, she was the queen of Cloverfield Heights, strutting around with her clipboard, her fake smile, and her little terrier, Biscuit, who yapped like he was paid to annoy. From day one, Linda had it out for me. Maybe it was my beat-up pickup truck parked out front, or the fact I skipped her mandatory community pancake breakfasts. Maybe it was my flannel shirts and work boots instead of golf polos and loafers. Whatever it was, she decided I was the nail that needed hammering down. It started Smala-typed note in my mailbox about my zucchini patch being visually disruptive. I laughed it off. I'd spent decades dodging flames. A fussy neighbor wasn't going to rattle me. So I trimmed the vines, not because I cared about her rules, but because I figured I'd play nice, keep the peace. Big mistake. Linda didn't want peace, she wanted control. Next came a citation from my mailbox, which had a bit of rust. Then my shed's paint was non-compliant. Then I got a fine for watering my lawn on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. Every week, there she was walking Biscuit past my house, snapping photos when she thought I wasn't looking, building her little case against me. Then she set her sights on my sycamore. One humid afternoon, I was out pulling weeds when I saw her standing at the edge of my yard with two of her HOA minions, Greg, a guy who looked like he'd framed the HOA bylaws above his bed, and Sally, who nodded at Linda's every word like her neck was on a spring. Linda pointed at my tree, her voice sharp. "That sycamore's a hazard, Tom. It's too close to the property line, and it drops branches in storms." I stood up, wiping sweat from my brow, and kept my tone even. "It's healthy, Linda. I had it inspected when I bought the place certified safe for decades." She crossed her arms, her smile cold as ice. "It's a liability. We'll have to review it." I looked at that tree, its branches sprawling like they'd held up the sky forever, and said, "It was here before your HOA, and it'll be here long after." Her eyes narrowed. "We'll see about that." That was the moment I felt the same gut twist I'd get before a fire flashed over. This wasn't about the tree. It was about her needing to win, to bend me until I broke. I didn't know how far she'd go, but I knew she wouldn't stop. A week later, a neon yellow notice showed up on my door. Mandatory HOA meeting at Linda's house. It wasn't an invite, it was a summons. I went not because I wanted to, but because I thought maybe, just maybe, reason could still win. Stupid me. Linda's house was a showpiece, white shutters, perfect hedges, little seasonal flags like she was auditioning for a magazine cover. Inside, 5 HOA board members sat around her dining table, stiff as store mannequins. Linda kicked things off with a slideshow flashing photos of my zucchini, my firewood stack, my rusty mailbox, and of course my sycamore. "Cloverfield Heights values aesthetic unity," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern, "and these deviations threaten our community's harmony." I sat there, arms crossed, as she droned on about my trash can being an inch too close to the curb, my flag not being HOA approved, my hose coiled improperly. Then she got to the tree. This sycamore violates setback rules and poses a safety risk. I leaned forward. Linda, I mow that strip of grass by the curb. I pay the drainage fee for it. The county says it's my land. She didn't blink. A branch dented Sally's car last storm. Sally looked at her shoes. I'd seen that dented was older than my truck. I'm not cutting it down, I said. Greg piped up all smug. Noncompliance means fines, Tom. Maybe legal action. I stood, looked them all in the eye. Good luck. And next time you want to photograph my yard, bring a warrant. Then I walked out. The fine started rolling in $200 for landscape obstruction, $150 for ongoing noncompliance, all tied to the tree. I appealed, got city records proving the sycamore was on my property, even had an arborist confirm it was solid as a rock. But Linda didn't care about facts. She cared about power. Then the contractors showed up, unmarked trucks, guys with chainsaws, one even measuring my tree like it was a crime scene. I chased them off, started keeping a log. Dates, times, photos, videos. I wasn't paranoid, but I'd learned in the fire service when someone's coming for you, evidence is your shield. Then one morning, I came home from the hardware store and saw it, a white spray-painted circle around my sycamore's base, a stake in the ground with a tag that read, marked for removal HOA order. My blood went hot. I snapped photos, called the city, the cops, my old fire marshal buddy Mike. You got a Linda problem, he said, chuckling, but I wasn't laughing. I knew she'd crossed the line, and I was done playing nice. The day they cut it down, I wasn't ready. I'd been at the VFW, fixing a leaky pipe for some old vets, when I pulled into Maplewood Lane and saw my sycamore me friendlying across the road, blocking the cul-de-sac like a fallen giant. Clean chainsaw cuts, the smell of gas still in the air. And there was Linda, standing on her driveway, latte in hand, smirking like she'd just won a war. You look surprised, Tom, she called. I could barely speak, my voice shaking. You did this. That was my tree. She shrugged. It was a safety issue. And, well, blocking the roads, just an unfortunate side effect. I saw the cuts on the limbs deliberate, guiding the fall to choke the street. This wasn't just vandalism. It was a message. I called everyone, cops, City Mike, my lawyer, Ed, who I'd once pulled from a burning kitchen. I filmed everything. The tree, the cuts, Linda's smug face. The police called it a civil matter, but Mike was livid. She's blocked the only way in or out, he said, pacing by the trunk. No fire truck, no ambulance, no things getting through. I filed a trespassing report, a hazard complaint, sent the footage to the local news. The tree stayed there, a barricade, stopping mail, trash trucks, even ambulances. An old couple down the street, the Harrisons, had to miss dialysis because the medics couldn't get through. Neighbors started whispering, angry but scared. Linda? She sent out a newsletter calling it a temporary inconvenience. I sued property destruction, trespassing, endangering public safety. Ed added Linda's name to the complaint. Mike sent a fire marshal's letter to the HOA, warning that the blocked road was a legal liability. I posted it on the community board. Linda stopped walking Biscuit past my house, but she didn't move the tree. Then the storm came. It was a Tuesday, the sky heavy with thunderheads, the air thick like it was holding its breath. I saw Linda outside, her bright pink raincoat clashing with the dark clouds. You might want to clear that tree before the wind hits, I called. She scoffed. Not my problem anymore. I shook my head. County says it's still on you. They're investigating with the fire department. Her face tightened, but she just turned away. That night, the storm unleashed hell, lightning cracking, wind howling, rain like a fire hose. Around midnight, I heard sirens, real ones, stuck at the base of the hill. I grabbed my boots, ran out, and saw two fire trucks, One jackknifed on a lawn, the other blocked by my sycamore. A lieutenant shouted, "Fire at 112 Maplewood, Lane Big 1. Roof's gone." My stomach dropped. That was Linda's house. I ran up the hill, the smoke thick, the heat hitting me from a block away. Her mansion was an inferno, flames tearing through the roof, windows exploding. And there was Linda, soaked, screaming in her yard, biscuits inside. Do something. But the trucks couldn't get through, not because of me, but because of her. The firefighters tried a back service lane, barely wide enough for a car, let alone an engine. They got through, but it took 40 minutes too late. The house was gone. Linda stood under a foil blanket, mascara running, staring at the wreckage. Biscuit, thank God, was Finney, a rookie founder under the deck. I stood with Mike, watching the crews douse the last flames. He handed me an incident report. "Your HOA's in deep shit," he said. "Obstruction of emergency access. She's lucky no one died." The next day, the story exploded. News vans swarmed Maplewood Lane. HOA blockade delays firefighters as mansion burns, the headline screamed. Someone leaked my footage of Linda directing the tree crew. Another caught her yelling at the firefighters. It went viral, thousands of shares, comments calling her everything from a tyrant to a fool. Neighbors started talking, not just about me, but about Linda's reign of terror. Fines for wind chimes, banned birthday parties, pool access revoked over a kid's muddy shoes. The HOA held an emergency meeting, and it was chaos, standing room only, people shouting, demanding answers. I stood up, held up my evidence, the city's report, my videos, the fake arborist letter from Linda's shady cousin. This wasn't about safety, I said. It was about control. The room erupted. Linda was voted out that day, but didn't end there. A neighbor, Paul, pulled me aside at the store, nervous, clutching his grocery bag. "Linda wasn't alone," he whispered. "There's a group, the inner circle, running the HOA like a mafia. Fake invoices, rigged contracts." I dug into the records and found it. $10,000 for tree mitigation to a company that didn't exist. The DA took my folder and ran with it. Subpoenas flew, emails surfaced, Linda tracking residents, marking us for influence. They found $90,000 in siphoned HOA funds, some to Linda's PayPal, some to Greg. Charges hit: embezzlement, fraud, vandalism, obstruction. Linda's mugshot was on the news, her smug smile gone. I ran for HOA president, not for power, but to fix this mess. We rewrote the bylaws. No more secret fines, no anonymous complaints, mandatory public votes. We built a community garden where my sycamore stood, with a plaque, in memory of the tree that showed us truth. We planted a new sycamore, small but strong, tagged Cloverfield's second chance. Neighbors came back to life, flags flew, kids played, lawns grew a little wild. The Harrisons hosted a CPR class. Paul started a barbecue. I even sang Johnny Cash at the karaoke, badly but happily. Linda? She filed for bankruptcy, begged me to drop my lawsuit. I did not for her, but for me. I didn't need her money to feel whole. The night I stepped down as president, I sat on my porch, watching the new sycamore's leaves catch the breeze. A kid on a bike waved. I waved back. The fight was over, but the lesson stuck. Power unchecked turns neighbors into tyrants. We'd rooted out the fear, planted something better. But here's the thing, there's always another Linda out there, another HOA waiting to twist the rules. So I'm asking you, have you faced a bully like this? A board, a neighbor, someone who thought they owned your life? Drop it in the comments, tell me your story. Did you fight back? Or are you still in the thick of it? Because one voice, one tree, can change everything, and I want to hear how you're holding your ground.